Can you tell me your name, please?
David Forsyth.
David, when were you in Blairs? Can you tell me?
I came to Blairs in August 1954 and left at the beginning of July 1959. I was here as a student.
You were here as a student, right? That's fine. You came to Blairs obviously from somewhere. Was that Central Belt or wherever?
Yeah. Well, it was Central Belt, Bellshill, Lanarkshire, Motherwell Diocese.
Why did you come to a seminary?
Well, I thought I had the vocation to the priesthood. I didn't want to get into any of the orders, and having discussed it with my parish priest at the time, he suggested Blairs because it was a national junior seminary for Scotland.
Okay. Did you know much about Blairs apart from that time?
Knew nothing about Blairs.
You'd never visited?
Didn't even know where it was.
Right, okay. That's interesting. So, if you'd never visited, I mean, what's your first ever memory of the college?
The first memory was coming up that drive and seeing that building, immense building, and I really wondered what I'd let myself in for. Mm-hmm. And of course, all the students were there, the new ones. I was fortunate insofar as two of my colleagues from the school I went to, Our Lady's High, were coming as well. So I had two friends that I knew. Right. But, it was very daunting experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a common feeling that we're getting from almost everyone who's interviewed.
Yeah.
I'll ask you some questions about your maybe first memories, or any of your memories at all, of, for instance, the chapel and the liturgies. What are your memories of those?
First memories coming down, of course, we were shown what to do and told what to do. I suppose I'd been fortunate in the sense that I'd been an altar boy, so I was used to, and coming from the West, you know, the usual benediction on a Friday, a Sunday, and having lived near Carfin throughout the summer months. You were in Carfin practically every week. The church itself was quite inspiring actually. Wasn't used to facing a cross as we did in our stalls. But very impressed by it, and of course the liturgy I thought was excellent.
This would be the pre-Vatican II liturgy, of course, in the 50s, yeah. Another part of the college is what we refer to as the refectory or the refectory. Memories of that? Yeah,
I remember getting told, you were allocated to a specific table. You would either be the outside or the inside. And again, it was rather fascinating to see all these students sitting down and eating, and I didn't know how they were going to manage, but we did. The other thing I felt about the refectory was at the lunchtime, the reading silence. I found that a wee bit difficult at first. The food, I soon get used to it. And didn't always enjoy it, but I would say in general enjoyed it.
What did you enjoy and what didn't you enjoy? Do you remember specifics at all?
Well, I liked the rat pie and the macaroni. I liked fish. I hated the muck, or stoves as it should have been, but I didn't like that. I didn't like the cabbage because it wasn't always clean. I loved the bread pudding, and to this day I still can't get the recipe for it. But I liked the food in general.
So that was food for the body. What about food for the mind? The classrooms, any memories of the classrooms?
Yeah, again, obviously they were smaller than what I'd been used to in the high school. But I adapted to it fairly quickly. And the profs we had were very good and settled you in and keep you going.
Study hall, the big study hall.
Yeah, that fascinated me, especially when I couldn't speak yet. When you were studying something or doing some homework, you wanted to ask someone, no, don't do this. Yeah, that but it fascinated me in that sense. But I saw the benefit of it, and in later life, I would say, first of all, it taught me how to study properly, and I tried to pass that on to my own family. The way we were taught that, how to study, I would say that was a benefit.
Indoor places, games, for instance, the play hall, playroom sometimes.
Well, play hall, and I didn't think much of the facilities there, although we played badminton and other things. But for PE, it wasn't particularly good. The only thing was, later on, when we had PE, it was the first 2 periods after dinner on a Friday, and we Sammy Kilpatrick used to take us for a cross country. Now I enjoyed running, distance running, so I enjoyed that. But the actual facilities weren't that great.
Do you have any memories of the theatre, which is over the way?
Yeah. We well, at first it wasn't in particularly good condition, but when the late Bishop Renfrew came, he got it renovated. He put in theatre seats. He got the room at the back for the film. So it was him that he got that introduced, and it did improve a lot. And we enjoyed the shows that were put on by the students. Always 6 year, well, nearly always 6 year. But we had there was a concert. The choir sang, and they actually had an orchestra for it. That was excellent. Thoroughly enjoyed that.
Did you have an end of 6 year thing?
Yeah,
do you remember what that was?
We actually had 2. We had one for Pentecost, for the parents coming, the Pentecost weekend, this weekend, and then we had another one for the end term. So we did 2 in 1 year, 2 comedies.
General areas, the wash places, any special memories of the wash place?
Oh yeah, I mean it was a rush to get down and get in and make sure you could get your place and get ready. The good thing, one of the benefit was the bath rota, which in your younger years, you knew exactly when you could go for a bath and when you couldn't. Different when you were in senior year, because when you played football you could come down, have your bath whenever, but it was good that way, I found.
A lot of life went on in the corridors. Any memories of the corridor life? Yeah,
the corridors were normally for talking in if we weren't in our form room, but also there was skating, roller skating, and hockey with golf clubs and shoe polish tins. So that people became quite adept at skating and avoiding people when they were doing that. So that was quite handy. The other thing was giving the mail out. It was normally done in the corridor. And I had the privilege, shall I say, of being one of the postmen for the juniors. So you can imagine what like that was. But I enjoyed that. The other thing which was good was the silence from the top of the corridor into the study hall. That was good. You weren't involved.
Any other indoor areas that you particularly think of that I wouldn't have considered here?
Well, the library, when we were allowed to use it, was fine. And again, there was a certain amount of silence in it. And the classrooms, if you were doing particular activity, you might be allowed in, as long as you had special permission. sometimes you get a wee bit, well, I say, not upset, but you felt like saying to some of them what to do when they were playing the piano, practicing, especially when it was the team from the Glass Mountain, or Bolero, which was going on all the time. But no, we enjoyed it. We actually were lucky we had a Father Beattie, Felix Beattie, who had been in the army, was a boxer, and he took some of us for boxing in the classrooms, which was good, you know, so we could do that.
We're moving into sport, so maybe talk a wee bit about the outdoor areas and get on to sport. Any memories of the bounds around the college?
No, not really. We knew where the bounds were, and that was it. But you more or less kept it. You weren't allowed to give out and out of bounds.
What about the pale courts?
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. That was the centre of activity. In the morning and at the break and at lunchtime, you were at the pale court. And a lot of discussion and a lot of events went on there. And planning went on there.
Were you a footballer, David, yourself?
Yeah.
So what about the football fields, memories of individual?
I liked the football here. Although I originally started out as before I came here, when I played for the primary school, I was either centre half or centre forward. Ended up playing left back here. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. And again, going to the different pitches as you progress through the years, you know. And then the different matches against forums, the one below you, the one above you, and of course Glasgow House and Scotland Island. It was good. It was good. Hard game.
Skating point. Did you ever use a skating point?
I personally no. I went to a couple of times where we had the skates that you put on your boots or shoes. But the last time I went, I remember we were told it was fine, and we went on and went straight through the ice. Thankfully, it wasn't deep, you know. But yeah, that was it.
Thankfully, right enough. Did you get much involved? We in the 60s get involved with the farm quite a lot. Did you get involved with it at all?
Well, no, we were only involved in it with the potato picking at that part. And in top year, we were a bit involved. Again, the late Bishop Renfrew was very much involved. And I mean, he had them rebuild the pigs' pens and everything. He was responsible for a lot of that. But we really weren't all that much apart from, as I said, the potato picking.
Any memories of the woods, either the small woods or the wee woods or the big woods up the back?
Yeah, the big woods, I also did a distance running, so we used that when we were doing the cross country, and even at our PE, we would go along past the farm, up the back road, round past the quarry, up through the woods, and had a lot of memories there. Also, in 5th and 6th year, we were allowed on a few occasions to go up to play in the woods, as it were. And I remember seeing some deer, big deer, stags, lovely, and it was fascinating to see that. The small woods, we walked through if we were out for a walk or that, we would walk through them and enjoy it. Other things, you saw quite a lot of natural life, squirrels and other animals.
The orchard, the walled garden, were you ever in that, or was that out of bounds?
We were banned. We were not. It was out of bounds for us, the orchard. We weren't allowed in unless the Grieve took us in for a specific reason, to pick plums or that. But the orchard was completely out of bounds for us.
Surrounding countryside, you said you did cross-country running, you like distance running? Did you run round the back roads and...
Yeah, went up the back road, and we did, and in the winter we did our sledging, some of our sledging up there when the snow was bad and had been cleared, so we could go up the top and sledge right down to the main road. You know, it was really, and as you know, the big sledges, and really fascinated with that. And one of these things, but again, enjoyable.
Can I ask you, David, now about some people who were here? Do you remember many of the staff members when you were here?
Yeah, quite a few. Hughie Fulham, Bishop McGill, Big Steve was a rector. Danny Boyle was the master of discipline. We had the two McGurks. We had Hugh and Tom McGurk. Jerry Marr. Tim Mannion, he was our form master. Papa Walsh. Father Bradley. Father Brown. There were two Father Browns. And Father Frio. They were profs. And there was another one from Galloway Diocese. I can't quite remember his name now, but most of them. And we also had Father Kruger. Father Kruger and Father Simon. Father Simon, he was excellent. I actually had him as my spiritual director.
Did you enjoy the teaching that was done? Did you enjoy learning from?
Yeah, to a certain extent, but then again, there were one or two things that I wasn't too happy about. For example, the Latin, they had to have 100% passes in Latin. And if you failed an exam, if you were in the higher Latin class, failed a couple of exams and you were put down to lower, you know, rather than let you go in. But that was a policy. But that was fine. Another prof was Big Desmond Strain, English. He was brilliant. He followed us to Cardross when we went. But, again.
Did you have much contact with the sisters at that time? With the sisters?
We only worked with them when we were doing the cleaning, manual labour, and that was mainly in top year. And cleaning the refectory, you know, sorting tables and that, and serving. That was the only time we dealt with them direct, apart from the infirmarian, whom obviously we saw if we were at.
Any other workers on the estate, for instance? You mentioned the Grieve earlier.
Aye, well, with the Grieves and the other family, what's the family? I can't remember the name of the family, but they were the Shaws. The Shaws. We knew them well, and they knew us, and you know, we were always chatting to them, and we keep you going.
Any special events happened, David, when you were here, or any maybe anecdotes or things that you remember? You know,
one or two events. We had a radio broadcast from the chapel, and it was worldwide, and the choir were involved in the whole college, so that was quite an event for us, and we got rave notices, as it were, for it from all over the world. That was a big thing for us. The other time that there was an opera, La Bohème, was on in Her Majesty's, and suddenly the whole college went to see it. We were taking in an afternoon, and a few things like that. But yeah, there were various, and then different celebrations for priests, you know, different anniversaries and that.
Do you remember other students who were there at your time, David?
Oh yeah, I remember most of my own students, and I remember many of the ones that were before my own year. There was, well, a year ahead of me, they had two bishops, my own bishop, Bishop Logan, Roddy Wright, and of course Joe Devine, he was ahead of that, Forkett Cunningham, and 1 year, well, various boys, John O'Donnell, George Bradburn, Brian Moore, and people like that.
I think I know the answer to my next question, but do you still have friends from your Blairs days?
One or two, yeah.
Right,
yeah. I keep in touch with some of them by email.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't seen them or met them for years, but by email, it's amazing what you can do, what you find out through the email. So I'm keeping in touch that way.
Like many of us, David, do you feel there is a bond with people you were here with?
Oh yeah, there is a bond. No matter what you thought of Blairs, there's always a bond. And you know, as I said, I think probably Steve McGill, I remember one of the first things he said to us when we came, and it always stuck in my mind, was always work well, work hard, pray hard, and play hard. That was his motto. And I think you could say that applied to most Floridians, that they did all those three. And again, it was an ethic that you felt it followed. The other thing about it was, and John and I were discussing a few things before this, I found it really taught me how to study. And I tried to put this over to my daughters. And I also found that when I went back to study for the diaconate, that I could fall back and use the method that I used.
I think you're almost beginning to answer almost what was to be my second last question. Your views on your Blairs' influence on your future life, things like the education, life skills, spirituality.
I don't resent, or I don't resent having been at Blairs. I enjoyed my 5 years here. I don't think it was a waste of time. I would say it influenced me in many ways in my normal life, in my spiritual life, and it kept me more or less on the straight and narrow. I'm not saying it was always easy, but it certainly kept me going, and I frequently talk about it to other people, to friends that don't know anything about Blairs. I try and tell them what it was all about, yeah, we had good times, we had sad times, we had bad times, but in general, I enjoyed my experience. I can't say anything different.
Brilliant. Any favourite story, anecdote that it can be a wee funny, it can be anything that you pick?
Well, there were a couple of things. I remember one particular night we had been up in our foreign master's room, Big Tim Mannion. He had a year up in his room. I'm not sure if it was 5th or 6th year, but we were talking. Somehow or other, we got on talking about the end of the world, and we were having a laugh about it, and talking about it, and discussing it. After night prayers, we went to bed, lights out. During the night, there was a terrible clatter, and all the night lights went out. The generator had been hit by lightning. And one of the boys who had been talking about it, waking up, blessed himself and fainted because he thought it was the end of the world. He told us the next day. But that was one of the things. And then the occasion when the nun, we called her Mum up. I can't honestly remember her name. We were cleaning the chapel on the 23rd of December. She was hoovering, and you know how you can get into the organ, and she hoovered the tubes for the organ and knocked the whole thing out, and they had to get a specialist to come in and retune the whole organ on Christmas Eve, so you can imagine what that was like. That was wee Ben Dunnick, who was in it. Ben was another prof, as was Bishop Renfrew. He was a prof as well, and that was another thing. He had us going. We actually had a mouth organ band, and that was him that started that. But yeah, the happy memories, happy things.
That's brilliant, David. Many thanks for your contribution. Thank you very much.
Right.
That's great. There was a lot of